guys, Emma again. We're back on these patterns. Haven't really left off them much, but I'm really don't know what to do about this. This is half the core box, or most of the core box for the crankcase. It looks like this, or it should look like this when we're done. Now, there's not a lot of support in here. It's alright, I guess, once the pattern's shut. It's alright, I guess, once the mould's shut, because the two halves will hold together and probably can peg it here. But there's no real support on this back corner, and if you have a look, it sort of feels that's where the weight is, hanging down there. So I've got some thoughts about that. This is all core print, and I've made this, which is two halves of the box. There's one side and the other side. The problem with this is that it's particularly difficult to ram and to gas. Probably I'd put a couple of holes in here to gas it and use a needle or something, or a tube, and that would work okay. And you could ram this reasonably tight, I guess, without too much trouble, probably, from the top here, and level it off on top. However, out here, it's got to have this tube, or this bar or rod or round protrusion, which goes through the core to give a cylinder. Which is all good, but where do I go? Because if I just make this box with a round protrusion like this, that's going to work. It's got a basically a circle here that pokes out. However, you can't really pack this tight enough to be effective. Or to be a decent core and get it apart of anyone. I just don't like your chances of making that core with this sticking out here as part of this box, because you could probably feed it with your fingers and pack it in nice and tight from each end. But in reality, it's not really the answer. So, do I A, put a tube through here like I've done with this one and make a round hole all the way through, like from here to here, and make a core out of a piece of tube, or in a long core box to fit this all the way through, put a protrusion on the outside here so that it supports this end a bit better, and have these two fit together with glue or just an air gap or whatever, just a sliding fit if that's what it needs, so that you've got a piece that looks like this when you drop it in. Now, that's the first idea. Second idea is to make two core boxes in halves and glue them together. And make two cores, or two halves of the core, and glue them back to back. And that'd probably work too. There's no reason why it shouldn't. So they're the options, I think, at this point. I can't think of any other real way to do this. So maybe someone can give me some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. Clark or whoever's the foundry expert here. I'm sure there's a few pattern makers I can send this to. Chris, maybe you can give me some feedback. I know you think they should be done in 2 halves. So I'm just putting this out here. Maybe someone can help, and I'll need to get these done. So thanks for watching, and leave a comment on YouTube or send me a message or write me an email or whatever. Give me a ring, whatever you need to do, and I'll do what you think is the best thing. But happy moulder, happy life. So it's kind of down to you, Clark.